Velina mai kako. Welcome to Keep It Aloha, a podcast that keeps it aloha by building more than just buildings. I'm your host, Kamaka, and our guest today is not just building houses, he is also building the future of Hawai'i. But before we introduce him, I gotta remind you about this week's giveaway. If you didn't already know, here on the Keep It Aloha podcast, we give away $500 or more in prizes every single week, all of 2026. For this week's giveaway, I am personally providing the prize for you guys. To find the giveaway details and enter, all you have to do is head to our Instagram and find the post on our profile. The full details will be in the description. I'll be pulling the winners on Wednesday, July 29th, so make sure you get your entries in. For an extra 10 entries, email nicole@keepitaloha.com the secret word / phrase from today's episode. Good luck and enjoy this episode. All right, let's introduce our guest.
After 175 years, some people still think we're just a ranch.
And we just farm all day.
What they don't realize is we wear many hats. And that's just how we roll.
You just might see some old friends.
Or make some new ones.
So come hang with us
Drive on out to the country.
and get that epic snap.
No matter what you're looking for, come discover where legends are made.
Our guest today is a Hawai'i development leader from the island of Oʻahu. After graduating from the University of Hawaiʻi at Mānoa, Shidler College of Business, he joined Stanford Carr Development, where he spent more than a decade helping lead some of the state's most impactful projects. He currently serves as vice president and lead project manager for the new Aloha Stadium Entertainment District, a transformational multi-billion-dollar redevelopment that will help redefine the heart of Honolulu for generations to come. Along the way, he also led the development of Hale Mōʻiliʻili, Oahu's first high-rise affordable rental community built exclusively for Native Hawaiian beneficiaries, and was recently recognized by Hawaii Business Magazine as one of its HB20 honorees, celebrating leaders helping shape the next 20 years of Hawaii. I am so stoked to talk stories with him today. He is Kaloa Robinson. Aloha, Kaloa. Sean Anthony, welcome to the Keep It Aloha podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, you look very familiar. It's like I've seen you around a lot.
It's almost like we've known each other since we were 8 years old.
Yeah, it's so weird. Some would say we're cousins, possibly.
Are we?
I mean, we look exactly alike.
We do.
Yeah. If you guys don't know, Kaloa is my first cousin on my stepfather's side. So we don't have the same last name, but we've known each other basically our whole lives. Funny story, he's named after my stepdad and my sister Kanoe, who's been on the podcast a bunch of times. She is named after Kaloa's dad, Kanoe. So that's kind of the lore of our family.
It makes family reunions a lot of fun because you say one person's name and 3 people look.
Yeah, and then the other thing I didn't mention, his brother's name is Micah, and my brother's name is also Micah. So we got 2 Kaloas, 2 Kanoes, 2 Micahs, all in one place at every family gathering. So it gets a little confusing and fun. But super stoked that you're here today. I guess, I was thinking, like, would you have been on the podcast if you weren't my cousin? Because, nepotism is real here in Hawaii, right?
No. No, it's not.
But I was thinking, you've actually done a lot of amazing things, and we never talk like this to each other. Like, wow, I'm so proud of you, or look at the really awesome things you're doing. It's mostly like, your golf game sucks, or like the normal kind of brotherly, cousinly love that we show each other. So, but seriously, just looking into the things that you've done, and anytime something big happens in your life, Uncle Kaloa sends it to our family group chat, and so you are doing some really transformational things here in Hawaii. And I don't even think I realized how much of a big dog you were up until like the last couple of years. So super cool what you're doing, and I think even if we weren't cousins, you would have made it on the pod anyways. So that's my compliment to you.
What a backhanded compliment, Kamaka. No, in all seriousness, we rarely talk about our professional accolades when we hang out together, but I think the truth of the matter is that our family has one trait that kind of transcends all the other traits, which is that we've got a lot of hardworking guys in our family, and that's a cultural component of who we are.
Yeah, totally. Well, I'd love to get to know you. I pretty much know the very surface level things of your childhood, going to school and going to college and stuff. But I'm excited to get to know the more detailed things about your life, and share it with everybody here watching. So let's start at the beginning. Where are you from? Where are you grad? And what was it like growing up?
Well, listen, I'll tell you what I can tell you. Some of those details are sort of a second date conversation. So you might have to
Part two.
You might have to have me on later. But my name's Kaloa Robinson. I'm born and raised in Honolulu. I am certifiably unemployable anywhere else in the country except for here. So I have no choice to work anywhere else besides home. I have been in development for 11 years of my life. I've been building things, so in construction, in some way, shape, or form for about 13. So before I started in development, I spent a couple years at a construction company doing retail commercial renovations. From there, found Stanford Carr's Keaho Place sales gallery over at Restaurant Row. Walked in, looked at all of the renderings and all of the different possibilities. That project was pretty visionary because at a time when the rail project was probably at its worst reputation, Stanford was pushing for the community to realize some of the future benefits that project could have and could transform for our daily lives, not the least of which was a concept which he brought to real life at Keaho Place, which was a mixed-use, transit-oriented development where you have residential up above, commercial and retail settings below to activate the ground floor, all connected to a rail station. That triggered in me the idea that one day I could possibly wake up, take the elevator downstairs, and then take the horizontal elevator from the Civic Center station in Kaka'ako all the way to the airport and not have to fight traffic, not have to pay for parking, just get off and not clog the roads, just get off the train and go catch a flight. And that triggered something in me, which is that local boys doing things for the right reason, being bold, being brave, and having the courage to see things that maybe most people can't see, and then sticking to your guns and having the grit and the perseverance to go and do it. Those kinds of guys can actually change things for the better. So after seeing that project, I basically begged Stanford for a job, and he looked at me during the interview. I'm a 24-year-old kid. I can't even rent the car to go to my project on a neighbor island without paying the additional fee at the time. I should have not been entrusted with projects of that scale at the time.
Because wait, 26 is the legal age to?
I think it's 25.
25. Okay.
I think it's 25. Yeah. So a 24-year-old kid walking in, he looks at me up and down. He lets me say my spiel through the interview, and at the end of it, he looks at me and he's like, "I'll give you a shot, kid." And that was 11 years ago.
Wow. And now you're his right-hand man.
There's a big team of us. It takes a village to get these things done. The role that I play is the role that I play, but there's a lot of us that come together to make these things possible.
Yeah. I was just telling you right before this podcast, I've heard the name Stanford Carr for a very long time. I knew it mainly because you work for him, but I never actually looked him up and how he looked, because I know you guys work on a lot of development, and I just figured the Howard Hughes, the Stanford Carrs, I feel like it's just old white men. So we had our meeting the other day, and I saw him, and this is a local Hapa looking guy speaking pidgin, and I'm like, what? That totally threw me off, because I mean he was throwing in some pidgin words. He was just saying, yeah, if you think of that one uncle, that little older Asian uncle at the potties, that's kind of how he talked. And I was so surprised, and I didn't even realize he's from Maui, and then he moved here. So it's so cool to see that, in one of these big development corporations, there's, you in a position of leadership, Native Hawaiian, him, local brada from Maui, leading the way for our people. So I think that's really cool.
Local boys can do a lot of good work, and he's definitely not like most of the other developers in town. I think developers are probably some of the people in society with some of the worst reputations. And the adage of don't meet your heroes, but I do not feel that way about Stanford. Working for him has been the privilege of my life, and it's taught me so much, not just about the business components of real estate development, but the heart. We endeavor to always do the right thing, regardless of the financial consequences of it. There have been moments where I have tried to push for a more profitable tack, and he has said, "Don't do that." One of his favorite sayings is, "Greed has no logic." So when we're out there trying to do some of these things, there's no shortage of criticism out there. But I will say one thing about Stanford Carr and Stanford Carr Development. We do not do this. We do not do the work that we do because it's the most profitable type of real estate development. Our mission is to build for the people of Hawaii. It's something we live, breathe, eat, sleep, drink every day that we're there. And that's one of, if not the most important reason why the projects we do actually get done. We do not take on the easy projects. We don't take on the simple ones. We often take on the most difficult, sometimes impossible projects because it's the right thing to do, because the people deserve it. We deserve it. It's something that I want for my friends and family and my cousins, etc.
Yeah.
So all of that taken together, having that kind of mentorship is exactly the thing that that made another local boy somewhat of a small leadership, put in a small leadership role.
Yeah, totally. That's amazing, and mahalo for sharing that. I do want to rewind a little bit and get to know a little bit about your childhood and what led you to doing this. I mean, you said you've been building for, constructing for over a decade.
Years, yeah.
Like, were you into Legos back in the days?
I was.
Were you like a visionary? Like, what made you interested in this? I know you went to school for business, but and you grad HBA. I was telling him I think this might be our first HBA grad here on the podcast. So you're representing them proudly. But yeah, I don't remember, like, did you do sports? And because I know like you were into like sailing and like kite surfing or something for a little bit, right?
So
As an
first of all-
adult, though.
Well, so first of all, I was into Legos.
Okay. Oh yeah, sorry, so many questions at once.
No, so I was into Legos. That was actually a critical component of probably until I was like 11 years old or something. I was constantly trying to build different things. In high school, I did a little bit of sports, but really my first foray into project management, which is just generally speaking, project management is the process of taking something that doesn't exist and effectuating it into something that does. My first foray into project management was actually a high school band that I started with 4 of my best friends.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Did you forget about the long
Yeah,
hair?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was in a I mean, I probably look a little more put together now, but for a good period of my life, I was in something like a heavy metal band with long hair, playing bass at dingy dive bars. So,
yeah, that's crazy.
my
Using words like foray. I don't know. We got public school education here. I don't know what that means. Foray.
these Punahou guys
Yeah.
aren't the only ones that read books. No, so my first endeavor into project management was getting our demo track recorded. We had a budget, we had a schedule. I had to herd all of the cats to get, rock band guys are not exactly the easiest people to get in a room and to have all of their ducks in a row. So putting together that demo track, hiring the recording studio, getting everybody together with all of their gear, making sure they had guitar strings, picks, had their amps were working, all of that sort of stuff. That was my first taste of project management, and I loved it. I didn't really recognize at the time what skill set that was that I was developing, but if I were to summarize it today, the skill set that I have now and have kind of always appreciated is not necessarily playing all of the instruments, but bringing those instruments together to make a song. So that's where it started, and in a lot of ways, nothing's really changed.
Yeah, I mean, you're just moving pieces, but they just look different, and you're still constructing something, right?
Well, yes. I mean, just like with a rock band, I do have to say that my initial expectation for real estate development was something like what the Wolf of Wall Street lifestyle looked like. I expected there to be, fast cars, champagne, fancy parties, etc. And much to my disappointment, especially for the first 8 years of it, it's just a ton of hard work and spreadsheets.
And a Cybertruck order.
Well, I ended up not getting the Cybertruck.
I remember you did that.
Yeah, but it turns out that I guess like anything else, you go into something bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but it's really just a ton of hard work, and that's what that's basically what I've been up to from 12 years old till however old I am today.
Yeah. So when you graduated from HBA, you went to Mānoa, and that must have been because you're a year older than Micah. You're 2008 grad.
I'm a 2009 grad.
2000. Oh, you're same as Micah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But you're 91.
No, I'm 90.
Okay, that's what it was. I know something was. You're
Yeah,
90,
yeah.
but you're 2009 grad.
Mm-hmm.
So you were there from 2009 till 2012,
To
2013,
I graduated UH in the spring of 2013.
13. Okay, we overlapped a little bit.
Yeah,
I was
you
there
were
from 2011. Did we ever see each other on campus?
No, I didn't spend much time
Yeah.
on campus.
Well, I mean, if you were, the Shidler Business College is like way up campus, and in the like freshman like year, usually you're at Campus Center, or like
Yeah,
those
that's
those
right.
buildings in that area. So I guess I never went up there.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't really spend a ton of. I should have spent more time on campus. Put it that way.
It's fine. You were living at home the whole time, right?
I was living at home the whole time.
Okay, yeah. Because I know if you already live here, you can't necessarily dorm or something. Did you want a dorm? Or you like living at home?
I think I missed out on a few things by not dorming, but I think looking back, I wouldn't have changed anything living at home. Especially when you move out, you get to see your family a lot less. I mean, even though they're only a half an hour drive away from me, once life gets a hold of you, you end up seeing your mom, your dad, your dogs, your brother.
Mm-hmm.
You end up seeing them a lot less, and so looking back on it, I'm actually really grateful that I had the ability to live at home, because once you move out forever.
Mm-hmm.
I know that that's the goal for a lot of people, and it's an admirable goal, and you should absolutely, do it. But having some of that hindsight today, I'm very, very happy that I spent 4 more years living at home with my mom and my dogs.
Well, I tell you what, we still got probably like an hour and a half more of this podcast. We could still get you canceled. You can probably lose your job, lose everything, and then be forced to move back home. So
I think about that literally every day.
there's still time, so don't worry. I got you. I'll do the good cousin kind thing. All right, so leading up until working with Stanford Carr Development, you worked with that construction company, and then you told the story about how you connected. And what was the first couple of years working with Stanford, like our first Stanford Carr Development? Like what projects were you working on?
That's a great question. It was super easy. Everything went right. I showed up at 9 and left at 4.
Wow.
No, the way that Stanford mentors and raises up new project managers is very much sort of a sink or swim sort of thing. We put our guys from the moment they start working for us out in the field, working their tails off to get things built. I was not exempt from that policy. When I first started working for Stanford, my first project was finishing up a multifamily townhouse project on the slopes of Wailuku Heights in Maui. So I would fly to Maui once a week, and I would manage the pre-sale, construction, options, schedule, delivery, and budget of these multifamily townhouses that we built in Maui. That was the first couple of years, and let me tell you, there's a lot to learn. It's a pretty steep learning curve.
So how long did that project take?
That project took about a year and a half to finish up. And then from there, I spent the next 5-ish years working on developing an infill project on Front Street Front Street, Lahaina, called Kahoma Village. That project was about a 21-acre site. It was originally owned by the Weinberg Foundation, and it was the last open space on Front Street. When we built that project, we entitled it according to a statute called HRS 201H. And when you entitle a project through that statute, you oblige yourself to committing to 50% plus one affordable housing. I'm sure we'll get into the definition of affordable housing because I can already hear your viewers rolling their eyes at what is affordable. And
affordable for who?
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Actually, isn't it affordable for whom?
Sorry, you're asking me to correct your English?
I'm just joking because people would say affordable for who, but I'm just being a grammar stickler.
No, if you use who as an object, it's whom.
Just messing around.
So we entitled that under 201H. We committed to 50% affordable housing. We ended up delivering 60% affordable housing on that project. We started that project in early 2017. We finished the last house in the thick of COVID in 2021. And unfortunately, the fires happened a couple years after that. One of the things I'm proudest about is that project, 85-ish% of that project survived fully intact, while most of the surrounding housing around it was completely burnt to the ground. So that took me to 2021, and then I spent a few more years out in Makaha working on a project called Cottages at Mānoa, 120 single-family houses. And then beginning in November of 2024, we broke ground on the construction of Keʻolaho, formerly Hale Mōʻiliʻili, which is an affordable and workforce rental for DHHL Native Hawaiian beneficiaries. And that project's going to complete later on this year.
Oh, wow. That's super exciting. So like in a couple months?
In a couple months.
Yeah. Wow.
We got a lot of work to do.
So people have already bought into that already, or?
Yeah. Thanks for asking. That's a good question. So that project is a rental.
Only rentals.
Let me tell you about this project. Thanks for asking.
Got you.
You mentioned the name. You mentioned the code name Hale Mōʻiliʻili earlier on in the chat. Hale Mōʻiliʻili was sort of the working name, the code name for the project. As we worked through the project and worked through the design, we decided we started to talk internally that maybe Hale Mōʻiliʻili didn't fully encompass all the things that project really meant to people. So a little bit of background. Keʻolaho is built.
We got some honking outside. That's not your truck or your car or mine, huh? Okay, I think we're good.
Ain't mine. Keʻolaho is situated at the old stadium park. It's on 820 Eisenberg Street.
Okay.
This is 2 acres that used to be home to the old Bolodrome. This site was at one point in the past also home to a racetrack. Now, DHHL, the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, they came to acquire this property in 1994 through a land swap with the state. It was a settlement of a dispute between the Department of Hawaiian Homelands and the rest of the state of Hawaii. And the agreement was, as part of that settlement, they would get numerous parcels of land from the state, including this site. For a little while, this site was cash flowing for DHHL, and they were using that cash flow to effectuate their mission. But in about 2012 or 2013, all of it was no longer fit for a bowling alley. Bowling was falling apart. So thereafter, they leased it out to a towing company, and towing company revenues, I think, didn't justify not building on the project. So in the late teens of I think it was 2016 to 2018, the department undertook some efforts to research could this site be used for multifamily housing, and they looked at it for 2 reasons. One was because the site was underutilized and it was not cash flowing well, not well enough to to justify owning it. And number two, because there was a difficulty, there was a challenge, and this is no secret. There was a challenge in delivering homestead awards. That's because that's a difficult thing to do. I think Cully Watson is doing a great job in improving the velocity of deliveries. But I think for the rest of our lives, it'll be very difficult to deliver the typical homestead award that the Hawaiian Homes Act was built on. And I think what that means is that the department had to take a bold step to do something different. So they picked this site because it wasn't cash flowing, and because they wanted a developer, a private third party, to undertake the design, the engineering, all of the entitlements, and the risk to privately finance it, so that their resources weren't taken away from their core mission, and someone else could build a low-income housing or affordable or workforce rental on that property for Native Hawaiians. That RFP went out in 2019. We submitted an application for it. It was a competitive process. We were awarded, and once we were awarded, we began all of the design, entitlement efforts, et cetera, and broke ground on that in November of 2024. And when we deliver this project later this year, it will be yet another option, like you said, exclusively for Native Hawaiian beneficiaries of the Department of Hawaiian Homelands to utilize. Not everybody is ready to make a down payment on a mortgage. Not everybody has the credit for the mortgage. Not everybody is entirely ready for home ownership. So this is a project that just gives another option, another tool to the department and to Native Hawaiian beneficiaries to assist them on their road to home ownership, whatever that may look like.
Mm-hmm. This is the first of many projects, right, for Native Hawaiians? Because maybe not even for you guys, because I thought I remember hearing they're building something for Native Hawaiians in Kakakwa as well.
Yeah, I think we all hope so. I think this project, I mean, one of the particular challenges about this project is that it's kind of never been done before. That there were a number of challenges that took some time to overcome. We genuinely hope that some of the lessons learned from going from the original RFP in 2019 to finally starting construction in 2024, we hope that the department or maybe other developers or even us, if we're selected to do future projects, we can learn from those mistakes, those lessons learned, and deliver these things faster.
Mm-hmm. So what are the requirements to get in? Is it the same as getting Hawaiian homes, like 50% or whatever it is at now?
Yeah.
It's the same thing?
Yeah, no, so that's exactly right. The requirements for this are you have to be on the on a DHHL wait list. So
Okay.
in order to be on that DHHL wait list, you have to meet the blood quantum requirements. That process itself takes a little bit of time. There's a number of documents you have to submit to the department, and so if you haven't started that process and you think you meet the blood quantum requirements, by all means turn in an application. Start it as early as possible. But yeah, you have to be a 50% blood quantum Native Hawaiian to rent.
Do we have enough 50% blood quantum Native Hawaiians to?
Yeah. No, so that's an interesting question. Something that we asked ourselves initially. I think something that every developer asked themselves when they were looking at the project, and the answer is yes. We do. The last time I looked at the number on the list, I think it was about 10,000 on Oahu alone. Mm-hmm. Obviously the number is probably closer to 17 or 18 for the rest of the state.
Okay. So you're pulling people from a list that's the same list, Hawaiian Homes list, and it's like you get these options. Like you can have this or this plot of land. You could have this rental over here. You could have this home out in whatever. That's how it works? Something
like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an either or. By renting at Keoloho, you do not give up your position on the wait list.
Oh.
If I were to oversimplify it, you could think of our rental project as something like a waiting room. It's a place where you can kind of sort of wait there. And because the rents are capped, they're income capped, and they're price capped. As your income grows over time, you don't You don't have to move out, and you don't have to pay additional rent. You can live there, and you can save up your money, and as your earning power grows, you can prepare yourself either for a homestead award or any other housing opportunity.
Dang, that's so cool. When you think about it like that, it's just kind of like a temporary home, so until you're ready for your permanent home.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. And just to house people, that's the goal, right? Just to get people in houses.
That cannot be overstated.
Mm-hmm.
Housing. Not first of all, not having housing is a health crisis, and it's not like there's a scarcity of people out there that are fighting some sort of housing crisis. At the extreme, obviously, it's living on the street, but there's other more hidden forms of it where, like for example, you might have 3 generations of people living under one roof. You could have 5 or 6 people in a 1 bedroom or worse. You know, there's all sorts of different variations of what it looks like to be semi unhoused or completely unhoused. And projects like this make it possible to have a safe and comfortable and reasonably affordable place to live.
Mm-hmm. Dang, that's awesome. I didn't know the details about this project, but it makes me really excited for the people that could potentially be moving in, and especially because it's Native Hawaiians, and we are the ones that have been done wrong over the past the history of Hawaii, and a lot of people are angry, and I don't think there's any other way to put it. Like, they're angry. They're mad that there's no reparations. They're mad that the wait list is so long. There's so many things to be mad at, but this gives me hope and excitement, and hopefully other people who are on that list, who are mad and who have been waiting for years, hopefully gives them some excitement and happiness too, to show them that at least things are being done and people are trying to do right for our people.
Yeah, I mean, that is exactly right. If people are upset or they're frustrated, or like you said, they're just flat out angry, it's because there's a problem. That problem doesn't exist because yesterday someone made a decision. That problem exists because for 100 years, it's been incredibly difficult to deliver homestead awards. That's not going to change overnight. In fact, it's a very difficult thing to change even over 10 or 20 years. In a lot of ways, I really commend the department for a pretty bold and courageous decision to put this out to a third-party developer, because it's a big risk for them. But we think it's a risk that was worth taking. If the alternative, if you have a piece of land that's not generating cash flow to you, and you have 2 choices: to either develop something that you've never developed yourself, or to put it out to a third party, relinquish a little bit of control, and hope for the best. I mean, neither of those 2 decisions are great decisions. And fortunately, we're very grateful that the department put their trust in us. We take that very seriously. I take that personally seriously, as a part Hawaiian boy myself, to deliver on that. Because if we don't, then nothing's going to change. Now, having recently launched applications for Keoloho, and by the way, you can go to www.keoloho.com and apply if you're a Native Hawaiian beneficiary. Having recently gone more public and started generating more interest, I have heard no shortage of criticisms about this project. And I think it's really important for people to recognize that this project is not intended to fit everyone's needs. This project is meant to just be yet another option for, especially, what is especially important is it's an option that's just for Native Hawaiians. So you may not be aware of this, but most, if not every single affordable housing project, especially in the urban core, they all operate at 100% occupancy. You want to go rent get a place to rent an affordable housing project, good luck. Those rentals all operate at 100%. Every single one of our low-income housing projects and our tax credit rentals that we have out there, all of them operate at 100% occupancy.
What does that mean?
What does what mean?
Like they all operate at 100%?
That means that every unit is filled.
Well, I mean, I guess I'm confused because they say every unit is filled, but you go to these places and like half the units are empty.
I think you're confusing. I think you're confusing some of the nicer, more market high rises.
Oh, okay.
With our rentals.
That's different. I guess I'm thinking more like here in Kaka'ako.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna put that issue to the side a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know how true it is that most of these units, Ward Village gets a lot of flack for this, and I don't think all of it is justified. So I think it is something of a myth that most of these projects are unoccupied. But putting that aside, because the projects you're talking about are not cheap to live in. We're talking about places to buy that are $1,500 to $2,000 a square foot, which is a lot of money. Or you're renting a 2-bedroom out for $5,000 a month, and that ain't cheap. What I'm talking about is our rentals for households earning between what we call 30% of the area median income, or AMI, up to 100% of the area median income, or AMI. Those projects, especially the tax credit rentals, which are capped at 60% AMI for the most part, those projects are almost always fully occupied. So they're all full. So if you don't get in on the first day, it can take years for you to get into one of these projects. And for one reason or another, it seems a little bit harder for the Native Hawaiian demographic to have access to these projects. Think of a project that typically has full occupancy everywhere else, but this is exclusively for Hawaiians. This is going to be a great opportunity for Native Hawaiians to actually be able to get into one of these. Affordable rentals.
What also it is, it's also a great opportunity for Native Hawaiians to repopulate because if all 50% plus Native Hawaiians are living in this building, this is how we ho'olula hui. It's like you don't need a Tinder for Hawaiians only. You just go to Keola. Anybody living here is Hawaiian. Are you guys not marketing like that?
No, we're not.
Do you want to hire me to market this? Oh my God, I can fill this up so fast.
I don't think we can market this building as a place to repopulate the
Ho'olula hui.
But you know what? That is a good point. We have on Keola, which again is located on 820 Eisenberg Street at the corner of King Street and Eisenberg. We commissioned Kamea Hadar to build a mural. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Kamea. He, local boy. His art is profoundly beautiful, and basically every portrait I've ever seen from him has moved me significantly. Now, we've gotten a little bit of criticism for this mural because it's impossible to please everybody, but there's been a little bit of misunderstanding that the mural doesn't quite fit the area. For those of you who don't know, and this is probably a good place for you to insert what the mural looks like, I'll give you a picture.
Okay.
It features the I'iwi bird and the O'o bird. The I'iwi is the red bird, and the O'o bird is the black and yellow bird. Those two birds were the source for the feather capes, the Ali'i feather capes, the red, yellow, and black capes that you see in traditional
Chief
Hawaiian.
of War.
Chief of War being one of the best examples of it. The O'o bird, the black and yellow bird, is extinct. It's probably extinct. It was last seen about 100 years ago, early 1900s, and the I'iwi bird is critically endangered. That's an allegory for us. And the I'iwi bird, one of the reasons that the I'iwi bird is not extinct is because there's been the state's put in pretty significant resources to protect that bird. To see it go extinct along with the o'o would be a tragedy. And we as Hawaiians, we're not exempt from that. I mean, you make a joke about it, about repopulating the Native Hawaiian population, but that's the truth. And I think for the first time ever in history, there are more Hawaiians living away from Hawaii than live here. And this development game is not easy. I mean, you remember when I didn't have gray hair, and that wasn't very long ago.
I have noticed a little bit.
Yeah. This isn't easy, but one of the things that drives me is a profound desire to not see our people go extinct. That painting is a reminder that, number one, extinction is possible in the form of the o'o bird, but number two, extinction is not inevitable in the form of the iwi bird. And quite frankly, if we don't all get together to make a meaningful, profound dent in the supply of housing, and especially the supply of affordable / subsidized housing, then we will not. We will end up more like the o'o than the iwi.
Wow, I mean, that's beautiful. I'd never thought of it like that. And I guess, like you mentioned, people are always going to have their opinions. People are always going to criticize, even when they're not doing the work. A lot of it comes from people who are of the local community because they feel more strongly about it than, people passing by. But I love that you were able to explain that to people, because maybe they're watching this and they're like, oh, I didn't even think about it like that. Because I think we just have these ideas in our head of how things should be, like everything ranging from like, you should become a doctor. This is what your life should be. You should date this type of person. You should, go to college over here. You should only eat this. You should dress like this, So like when you're making the mirror of that, this is what I imagine in my head how this should be, and this is how it should be. So if anything goes against what I think in my head it should be, then I'm upset. And I think there's a lot of people that think like that, and that's what social media kind of breeds, is like, showing you so many different images of what things that maybe you agree with, don't agree with, and then it builds this fire in you to vocalize that through text behind a screen.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot. I mean, with this podcast, with a lot of things. So especially in the development game here in Hawaii, I can see how polarizing it can be. But I mean, just from hearing that alone, and I might not know all the nuances of Mōʻiliʻili. I can't speak on that because I'm not from there and I didn't do my research. I mean, I get my hair cut not too far from there. That's about the closest
I thought
thing.
you cut your own hair.
No, I
Looks
could.
like it.
I can. That's an insult to Mojo Barbershop. Taylor, do not let this guy into Mojo Barbershop. Shout out Taylor, always giving the fresh haircuts. Stay handsome, not hamajang. Mojo Barbershop, not an ad. Anyways,
Sorry,
you're not invited into to Mojo Barbershop anymore. But yeah, I think it's a cool project. I think the intention is good, and people are gonna think what they want to think no matter what. But I think it's gonna be really cool, and it's gonna be really funny when people start dating each other in that building and find out they're cousins. Anyways, so we have so much more to talk about. Let's move on from this. We have tons of social media questions, so I'm gonna take an early shishi break. And then we'll come back with social media questions. But actually, before we do that, every episode we do a giveaway. And this episode, I'm giving away this shaking massager. It's like a thing you put on your belly, kind of like something you use to like lose body fat, whatever. So that's the giveaway this week. I'm giving it from my collection for you guys. So I asked the guests for a secret word or phrase that they can send to my assistant for extra entries. So if you can think of a word.
Right now?
Yeah, just on the spot.
The kind?
The kind?
Yeah.
DAKINE?
Yeah.
Okay, we love it. Send the kind to the kind at the kind. But email the phrase the kind to Nicole, NICOLE at keepitaloha.com for extra 10 entries into the giveaway. All right, we'll be right back. I just wanted to say a big mahalo to our travel partner, Hawaiian Airlines, for supporting this podcast. One thing I always appreciate about Hawaiian is that no matter where you're headed, they always find ways to bring a little piece of home with you. Starting July 1st, they're rolling out a new onboard dining experience featuring meals created by Maui's own chef Sheldon Simeon. So, whether it's mochiko chicken and garlic noodles, a teriyaki chicken bento, or an island-style breakfast, you'll be able to pre-order your meal before your flight and enjoy a true taste of Hawaii in the air. And for our Kama'aina listeners, Hawaiian is saying mahalo to its Huaka'i members with a special launch offer. Huaka'i members can receive their first 2 pre-ordered meals free as they try out the new menu. They're also featuring local favorites like Anahola Granola, Diamond Bakery, Hawaiian Host, and Honolulu Cookie Company on board. Check out the new menu and book your next trip with Hawaiian Airlines. All right, we're back from a quick shishi break. Mahalo to water for hydrating us today and whatever is in Kaloa's cup. All right, let's get into the social media questions. And let me just preface this by saying you are the guy who is behind the Aloha Stadium project, the new Aloha Stadium project that we're all so excited for.
I'm one of the guys.
You are the guy in
I'm
our,
one of
you
the
are the guy,
guys.
okay? You're the guy in our head. At least our connection to it. So when we want stuff, we'll go to you. So I was just prefacing that because the first question comes from Kaloa Robinson.
Who?
Exactly. I love that answer. Thank you. Somebody named Kaloa Robinson. She says, will the Aloha Stadium have free tickets for food and drinks for relatives? Asking for me.
No, Kanoi. You have to pay for your own hot dogs and fruit punch.
What about like if we buy like a suite or something?
If you buy a suite, we'll throw in some hot dogs.
How much
and
is a
fruit
suite?
punch.
Projection. Just so I know how much money I need to make in the next couple years.
That's a good question. Probably. You're touching on kind of an important thing, which is like, what is the stadium worth? What are some of these things within the stadium? What are they worth? There's no good way to answer that question. I wish I could just throw out a number and tell you that that's the number and that's what it's worth. I can't. I can tell you that across the country, the values of suites range dramatically from maybe about $50,000 a year to $500,000 a year, and maybe a little bit more in some of these high value markets. But putting that aside, that very question that you're getting on is not a simple thing to answer, and we don't have that fully understood just yet. Part of the process of designing a stadium is understanding, when you design something, what is it worth? We're in the middle of that process now, and it's not a question that we're gonna be able to answer the next couple weeks. It's probably gonna take a few more months before we really fully understand how much those suites what the value of those suites are, before we can put them out to market.
Okay. I'm just trying to guess. I'm trying to think because, okay, so if I have like $10,000 in Pokemon in the next 3 years, it should at least double, triple maybe. So I could be on my way. If I sell all my Pokemon cards in a couple years, then I could possibly be closer to a suite.
I'll save you the brain damage on the math. We'll take care of you, Kamaka, when you come.
Yes, thank you.
We'll take care, and whoever Kanoi is, if you know her and you can vouch for her, then maybe she can come too.
Maybe she's watching this and she can reach out. It's funny because legitly, since I went to my first suite last year at the SoFi Stadium, and I think I was thinking, I don't know if I want to buy a house anymore. I think I want to buy a suite.
Yeah,
just because I love sports so much.
Well, I mean, that particular experience that you had, you didn't buy the suite.
Yeah. We just paid somebody. Yeah.
So, one of the things that we think about when we're designing the future Aloha Stadium is we don't want some of these nicer experiences to be so exclusive that they're invite only. When we're thinking about what we're designing for the stadium, we're not just thinking suites. We're thinking other areas that have some suite-like amenities to it. Maybe a little bit of exclusivity, nicer accommodations, a little bit of a bigger seat, etc. But in a way that we can offer this at a much lower price point than buying, a 10-year commitment on a suite. Most of the suites you go to across the country, or even at TC Ching, those are not suites that are typically reserved or owned by individuals. They're reserved or owned by large corporations. All the big banks have them. A lot of the big companies around town have them. So they're not exactly cheap, and they're definitely not available to just regular people like you and me. A better question to ask is, will I be able to enjoy some sort of suite-like experience there without having to pay hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to own a suite and have to commit to that for over a decade? And the answer to that question is yes. One of the criticisms we get about the stadium is that it was originally slated to have about half of the original seating capacity as the new stadium, or as the old stadium rather. And we take that criticism seriously. But the truth is that there's so many different ways to enjoy a football game cheaper than physically going to a stadium. Seat capacity is not the way that we can enrich the experience of the game. So when we're looking at the stadium, we're focused heavily on what are the different ways that we can enrich the experience of the people that physically want to come to the game, rather than how many people can we physically fit into a stadium. So it's very much a quality versus quantity discussion, but importantly, not just quality for the upper rings of Hawaii society. We're trying to design it so that there's something for everyone.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we have more questions about this, but I guess just get this out of the way. I was thinking maybe I'll wait till after we talk about Aloha Stadium, but everybody just wants to know. I think this is the golden question. And Kamalani Keao, one of our followers, asked, how long is it going to take?
Yeah. Yeah, I ask myself that question every day. So let me preface my answer with this is a difficult project. We haven't built a stadium in 50 years. And the last stadium we built, it's pretty impressive. The last stadium we built could transform using NASA technology on rails between a football configuration and baseball configuration. That was a pretty impressive feat for us to do 50 years ago. Nobody's done a stadium in at least 50 years. So if you're trying to rely on Hawaii talent, Hawaii leadership, there's a dearth of it. It's not something you'll find. So all of that to say, this is the first time in a generation that a new stadium is being built, and there is no shortage of challenges or obstacles or things that can get in the way of delivering this thing on time. That said, our outward commitment is our outward commitment to the state, to the people, to the UH football team, is to find a way to deliver this thing for the fall of 2029 football season. And our firm is going to do everything that we possibly can to make good on that commitment. It is a big and bold and maybe a little stupid of a commitment to make, but that's the kind of thing you're only going to find from local boys who care more about the impact to our friends and family and to our larger community than we do about the bottom line.
Okay, I was just writing my notes. I was like, oh, that was a perfect cliffhanger. We're gonna end the trailer where you're like, oh, commitment into the UH team to end and then boom, people are gonna have to watch the full episode. So if you're here, I hope we got you with that cliffhanger on the trailer. I mean, it's a huge project, and for us locals, people that enjoy going to these events, that we enjoy being around people and just the crowd environment. I mean, we have so many great memories of Aloha Stadium, whether you are a fan of sports or not. Maybe you're just a college student, you tailgated and you went to the game stumbling in with your friends and you didn't even watch the game, but you had a great time. Or, I remember coming to watch the LA Galaxy play at Aloha Stadium when I was really young and flew to Oʻahu just to watch that game. Bruno Mars performed. There's so many other great acts performed there. And
Michael Jackson performed there.
Jackson, MJ performed there, and I think it's just like we're excited. That's why we're like, when is it gonna be done? And I think people need to, one, be patient, but also look at it as this like something for all of us. I mean, it's not just for the sports fans. It's for the pop culture fanatics, the people who like music too. You know, like people that want to see Sabrina Carpenter or Taylor Swift or BTS. You know, like they can't do that at the Blaisdell. They can't do that at the Waikiki Shout. Like they're gonna need a high functioning, beautiful, high quality, bigger stadium like Aloha Stadium. And I'm sure you guys are taking all of that into consideration, not just for the sports things. But is there anything that you can share about like what the plans for this new stadium is like? Well, what is it gonna be? What's the vision for it?
How much time you got?
Depends. I told Jordan we won't go longer than 3 hours. So
No, yeah. Okay, so first of all, you hit the nail on the head. This is not just a football stadium. This stadium has to have multiple uses available for it, because one of the things that led to the old Aloha Stadium falling into the state that it was its difficulty in cash flowing. You cannot think about designing a stadium solely for the UH football team and maybe a few other football games in between. You have to think about this thing as multi-use across a number of different sports and a number of different other presentations. So what that means is this is not just a football stadium. We're designing the stadium with natural grass so that we can also accommodate professional rugby and maybe even professional soccer.
awesome.
You know, we've been talking to rugby organizations in Australia and New Zealand because they love Hawaii. They desperately want to come to Hawaii, and there's just no venue for that. So we're designing the field. We're making the fairly brave decision to go with natural turf, because natural turf is a very difficult thing to get right. It's hard to maintain. It's more expensive to install. You end up having to replace the field, you know, maybe once a year, sometimes twice a year, and that's not a cheap thing to do. But it's hypercritical to make sure that we have more than just our UH football games there. So bringing in professional rugby and professional soccer is not only going to activate the stadium, but think about the fact that you could be a Hawaii person who, instead of having to spend $2,000 on a round trip plane fare for you and your partner, plus your hotel, your rental car, to go see a game or go see a concert or something on the mainland, you can do that in your backyard. We don't have that. It's like you said, you can't host some of these big name people at the Blaisdell. I mean, you know, no disrespect to the Blaisdell. That's an excellent venue, but it just doesn't have the capacity to do these things. This is something that Hawaii deserves. Whether we were the ones selected to build it or not, the redevelopment of Aloha Stadium is important. It's something that everyone in Hawaii should recognize as a community amenity. This is a benefit that we will all share from. And regardless of how long it takes to build, that doesn't degrade the argument that it is worth building. There are a lot of projects whose fruit happens down the line. I think often about what my life would be like if H1 wasn't built back in the 60s, and how that must have been an expensive, controversial, and difficult. People lost their house. People lost their homes when H1 came straight through Kaimuki. That was a difficult project with tough decisions, and I'm not entirely defending all of those decisions. What I'm saying is that, does anyone alive today feel like they could actually get around Hawaii without H1 being built? And even if that took longer, even if that project was delivered after the people who started it passed away, does that really invalidate the value that it brings to future generations? These big, bold projects, they take time. And I hear the criticism, oh, it's going to take 20 years to build. And by the way, that's not why Hawaii Business Magazine selected me for the next 20. Not because the stadium's going to take 20 years to build. But that doesn't invalidate the investment. Some of these things take time. Some of the shade of these trees that we're planting, we will not sit in. We will not always, the people alive today will not always enjoy all of the value created. But that does not mean we should not do it. The stadium and the surrounding district are one of those things. We have an abundance of opportunities available to us if we can get the stadium right. And those opportunities they're going to percolate into Hawaii society for generations.
Yeah, I think that's a very Hawaiian mindset of like, we're planting this ulu tree, we're planting this kalo, not just for us to enjoy today, but for our future, kids and relatives to enjoy in the future and continue to sustain them for many, many years to come. So I love that you talk about that and you bring that up, because maybe we're not thinking about this. And I didn't even, it's funny because like we're as much as we live in the future, like we forget about like the past. And like, I didn't even think about, wow, there wasn't an H1. Like there was probably houses there. Like we see the old pictures of Waikiki and like, wow, it was, it was land and it was so fruitful. And then, they started building all these the hotels and whatever. And then we're always like, I wish it was like how it was back in the day. But then here we are enjoying all of the amenities of these hotels, staying there when our family comes or welcoming visitors here and there. And then we kind of just forget that like we just weren't around when all of this was happening, but we complain about it today. Yeah. So I feel like maybe with this is maybe we're the generation that we're complaining about it now. But when our kids and everybody, they're enjoying it, they're probably just going to be enjoying it and not complaining. So maybe we're just getting all the complaints out of the way for our future family members and friends.
Well, no. There's a downside. There's a downside to negative public support because, the legislature, government officials, they listen to the people. Public support, public opinion matters. If public opinion is constantly don't do something because it's going to take too long and I won't get to enjoy it, then we will continue to make myopic decisions. Everything we do will be short-sighted because it's just about what can I get today. And that is not how we got to, a functioning modern city on the most isolated archipelago in the middle of the Pacific. We got to this place because people made difficult decisions whose benefit they wouldn't necessarily get to enjoy. It's important for all of us to think about, what's important for us today, but maybe most importantly, maybe more important than anything, what's important for the future. Mm-hmm. It's what I think about all the time.
Mm-hmm. So what is like the biggest pushback that Aloha Stadium is getting, and like who's funding it, and do you think that rail being such a big issue causes some of the like, oh, it's just going to be just like the rail. They're going to take forever and nobody's going to use it. Do you think that's all connected?
I think these issues are complicated. And I think the rail, I think the Skyline project has made meaningful improvements to its delivery. I mean, the fact that I look outside my window and I can see columns coming to, my future TOD station makes me extremely optimistic about the future. It is very easy to criticize other people's decisions, especially if you have no skin in the game to change it. I think what Lori Kahikina has done in her time at Hart is inspiring. I look to her as something of an example because right there is a local girl, making bold managerial decisions to try and right the ship, to deliver on the promises that governments made. Having heard all of the criticisms about the rail for the last 10, 20 years, none of them have swayed me from its importance. there are times of the day where our traffic infrastructure does not work, and we have no alternative. If the freeway is shut down for any reason, how do people get from town to the west side? And that's not a trivial inconvenience. Not being able to get home is a problem. Spending hours in traffic a day is a drain on society.
It's the worst.
It's
I
a
hate
legitimate
it so much.
drain on your health. And I
Yeah.
think the idea that you can take a horizontal elevator from the Civic Center in town all the way out to Kapolei is an amazing investment. Projects in Hawaii are difficult. It is hard to do things here. Speaking from experience, it is. You could look at any number of the things that I've done myself and come up with a list of legitimate criticisms. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't have done some of the things that we should have done. It's very hard for me to find a regret about any of the projects that I've built in my career. I take that very seriously. We do not work on projects that are not good. So, with respect to the rail, I think that's something that eventually the criticisms will fall away in the same way that the same criticisms for H1 fell away. And it will become an integral and critical part of our livelihood. I see the Skyline system as introducing a number of different types of living possibilities. Transit-oriented development or mixed-use, high-density housing surrounded around a transit station, creates more walkability, so less driving. If you could live in a world where you didn't have to drive, you could save thousands of dollars a month on gas and owning your car. You don't have to spend hours of your day sitting in traffic. And sitting in traffic is not just an inconvenience, like I said earlier. There's an impact on your health. There's an impact on your mental health. It's less time that you have to exercise. I mean, there's a legitimate argument to be made that sitting in traffic is actually a little bit of a health crisis. And then in addition to all that, by concentrating high density development around these Skyline transit stations, you keep the country. That's more density in the urban core and less density and urban sprawl out in on the countryside. There's no scarcity of benefits for investing heavily in redeveloping the areas around the transit station, and for all of us to be forward thinking enough to think about how do we get Skyline from where it's ending all the way to Manoa.
Yeah, for the UH students, and then I'm guessing they'll probably go to Aloha Stadium as well, right?
It's already going to Aloha Stadium.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I don't know too much about the rail, but yeah, I mean, you're bringing up a lot of good points that I'm not thinking about because it doesn't affect me. Because I chose to live in town and pay the extra monthly rent because I don't want to drive and get stuck in traffic.
Well, let's look at your sister. So Kanoi
She just moved
Lehua,
out to the west side.
She just moved out to the west side. She's a Hawaiian Airlines flight attendant, and she takes the rail to the airport.
She loves
for
it.
work.
She loves it actually.
Yeah.
She talks really highly about it.
Yeah, I think we are starting to see the benefits of the fruit of a tree planted long ago.
Good point. I didn't think about it. I didn't know you knew who Kanoi was actually. That's weird that you brought her
I
up.
heard of her.
Yeah. All right. Next question. I just want to move with these social media questions. This one comes from Jaywalk.
I heard of him.
You heard of him? Okay. All these people you may or
kinda
may
short,
not.
not so good
Allegedly, you might know him. He says, "What is the electrical requirement for the stadium, and why do you like Sabrina Carpenter so much?"
I'm not going to answer the Sabrina Carpenter question, but I'll tell you that when you're building a zip code, you're building a zip code. The stadium is not just a stadium; it's a district. The requirement for electricity for the stadium is that we have to build a substation, and that's because a stadium today is not like a stadium 50 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago. If we want big names, like we were mentioning earlier, Bruno Mars, Taylor Swift, Sabrina Carpenter, BTS, etc., we got to build the right venue, and the right venue means more juice. So it's this is a component of a lot of different developments out there. So in a lot of ways, Aloha Stadium's no different. But it means that we got to work closely with Hawaiian Electric Company and the state to ensure that we have adequate electrical capacity, not just for the stadium, but for the future hotels, the future affordable housing projects, the future market housing projects. We plan for a school on that site so that the students of Aiea Elementary School don't have to use the pedestrian bridge to cross the highway. They can come on site, or the people that live there can come on site and use the school that we eventually build there, so that we have adequate capacity for the future Polynesian Cultural Museum, for the Hawaii Sports Hall of Fame. I mean, any number of the unique uses that we're planning for this site. Electricity is important. So.
Well, going based off that, like, what are some things that you can share? Like, because you mentioned like the Hall of Fame Museum, you mentioned some of these other things. It's also being mentioned as the Aloha Stadium Entertainment District. So is it going to be like how you go to a big stadium out in, like in California, or I went to the Brave Stadium in Georgia, and they have like bars and like shops.
Truist Park.
Like exactly.
Yeah.
Is it going to be like that?
It's funny you mentioned Truist Park because we borrowed a lot of inspiration from Truist Park.
I thought it was really cool over there.
It is.
Yeah.
So we've been there twice, and we have absolutely borrowed a lot from this location. Fun fact: the same guys that designed the Atlanta Braves stadium, Populous, they're also designing Aloha Stadium.
Oh, okay, that's exciting.
I'll use this as a shameless plug. Our team is among the best experts in the world for designing these things. Probably the most famous project that Populous has worked on is the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so we got the Sphere
that's
guys on this
very
thing.
exciting to me.
No, we have a ton of highly intelligent experts working on delivering the absolute best version of Aloha Stadium that we can. One of the things we learned from Truist Park is that parking is not what people think it is. So one of the criticisms we get, which is unbeknownst to the people making the comment, unbeknownst to them, it's actually a compliment. They look at some of our renderings and they think, "Where's the parking?" And that's the point. You're not supposed to see the parking. Within most of our renderings, there's 10 to 13,000 stalls, for surplus stalls scattered throughout the stadium, or scattered throughout the district rather. That people will be able to utilize to park at the stadium. We don't want people to see the parking. We want people to see the potential. We want people to see what's actually there. We're not designing this thing so that a bunch of cars can hang out. We're designing this thing so that people can enjoy themselves or can live, work, play, learn, thrive. That's the goal. So,
what about the tailgaters?
We have some very, tailgating. What tailgating was, the culture of tailgating will stick, but the exact methodology of tailgating is going to shift a little bit over time. There is a modern version of tailgating that we're working on delivering, and I think over the next couple months, as that design gets a little bit more fleshed out, and we can make that more public, I think people will start to understand that this is not your grandfather's tailgating experience. This is something new for a new generation.
Okay. All right. So I want a bouncy house. I want Pokemon vending machines all around, a private parking for me, and I guess for Fate too, just in case she wants to drive. A casino would be really cool. Maybe a casino, a couple tables. A water slide would be super cool, and maybe a Ferris wheel.
No, it's a good thing you told me that, because I've been wondering as we do this design, like, what does Kamaka want?
Yeah.
And so now that you've told me, I can take this back to the team and we'll get it. We'll
Okay.
get it done.
If you give me Stanford's number, I could just text him directly if you want.
Yeah. Go text him all the things you want.
Okay.
See what he says back to you.
Okay. So you're not gonna tell us why you like Sabrina Carpenter so much?
She's just good. I mean, I'll leave it at that. She's just good.
All right. Okay, flip-flopping between districts right now. This next question comes from Keenan Basug. This person, shout out to Keenan, great videographer. He says, why does the state/developers insist on building more and more in the Kaka'ako/Ward area?
I don't know. I don't know if insist is the right word to ask that question. First of all, the state made, there was a period of time where the state and other developers, so both the state and both public and private sectors, were making immense and meaningful investments in infrastructure. Some of that was roads like H1 freeway. Some of that was electrical. So there were a number of power plants that were developed in the 80s and 90s that are critical to our everyday life. These lights, included. One of those big investments was a massive sewer improvement to the Kaka'ako and Ward areas in the late 70s. And one of the reasons for that was to create a more walkable area. So there's a very typical criticism about certain areas of Honolulu being overpopulated and full of traffic. And there's some rightful criticism to that. It is a little crowded from time to time. But the important thing is that high density urban living and walkable living in particular is highly correlated with a higher quality of life. This was something known 30, 40, 50 years ago, and it's something that's still true today. There is a meaningful benefit to not having to get in your car to drive 20 minutes somewhere else to go to the grocery store. It is there's a meaningful benefit to being able to ride your bike to work or any other number of multimodal transportation. When you invest in infrastructure in a high density area, you create efficiencies, and in addition to those efficiencies, you end up creating a higher quality of life. There's not enough land in the state, or not enough developable land, not enough land that we want to see developed to give everyone a single family house. And if we were to give everyone a single family house, we would put stress on a lot of these other societal harms that we don't want to see. I mean, traffic being maybe the easiest. So why does the state and private developers insist on building in the Kaka'ako/Ward area? I mean, insist is probably not the right word, but one of the reasons is that it's a good place to put high density housing.
I mean, I live in this area. You also live in this area. I can say, it is a little sad when I see some of these shops shut down and they build another high rise and they block a view. But as somebody who lives in this area, man, is it accessible and walkable and so convenient. Like, to not have to drive everywhere and be able to take meetings around this place, just grab a quick bite to eat. I'm not super far from Ala Moana, so if I really needed to go to get more things, grocery shopping, not too far from Costco either, even though I don't know if you want to go to Iwilei. I just better just driving to Hoʻikai, guys. But I do love living in this area, and I do see a lot of young people, locals, Hawaiians, that live in this area too. And I think it's great for a certain part of your life. Like, yes, there's some families that live here, and they have a lot of these buildings have dog parks, and there's a nice park now that they're making, like in that Victoria Ward Park area. But it's good. Like, I don't think I plan to live here my whole life. I want a house, just like a lot of people. I want land. I want grass. I every time I go back to Hilo, I'm like, what is this green big thing? Oh, it's a yard.
Yeah.
I almost forget what it looks like. But, I think for working individuals and like people my age, our age, hustling, I think it's great to live here. I love it.
No, you're totally right, and you also hit on this other aspect of your life, which is that you're going to have different living needs at different stages of your life. So, right now, it's just you and Faith. Eventually, it might be you, Faith, and a couple of young kids. whatever. It's not. I'm using you as an example,
Yeah,
but the point being that different people go through different stages of their life. You might start as a condo liver when you're your age or my age, and then you might need to graduate into a single family home. And then at a certain part of your life, maybe the later part, you're tired of taking care of your yard and you want to move back into condo living. Hero just did just published a piece not too long ago where they talked about the domino effect of this. I think it was the Central on Ala Moana Boulevard, which was where building this high density multifamily high rise in town catalyzed eventually the availability of a single family home somewhere else. So the gist of it was that someone vacated a single family home and sold it and put it on the market so they could go live there, go live in this high rise. That's a meaningful and positive consequence of building high density residential. The other part of it is that we just need more housing. Affordability is every politician I've seen in the last decade or so has campaigned on increasing affordable housing, and we can talk all day long about the different policies you can effectuate, but at the end of the day, the only way that we're going to make a meaningful impact on affordability is by increasing the amount of housing we have. And one of the quickest ways to increase, or one of the quickest places to increase the amount of housing is in town.
So I guess we haven't covered what affordable housing means yet.
Yeah.
And like what is affordable and who can afford, a $4,000 rent, $5,000 rent, $2,000 studio.
Right.
I mean, it is expensive, and what I'm paying, financial advisors would all advise against it.
Yeah.
My brother always tells me, "Come on, go just move Big Island.
Yep.
Your rent's more expensive than my mortgage." He's always saying that. But I mean, there's pros and cons of it. Like, yeah, I pay a lot, but then I don't have to drive. I'm not stuck in traffic for hours, and I think to me that's my mental health is more important than saving money in this point of my life. But it is expensive, and it doesn't make sense for a lot of people. It honestly doesn't make sense for me to even be paying that for what I'm doing. I know there's these affordable places coming up, like, oh yeah, 60% is affordable housing and whatever it is. Renting's one thing, buying's another thing. I think there's a lot of programs that we can do that I don't even know about, that I'm still learning about, that makes it more easy for us to buy a house. And I think we just might not know about these things. But what is affordable these days? Because our cost of living doesn't match any salaries that not any, but most salaries that people have.
Yeah. Great question.
Kanoe would never ask a question that good.
Probably.
So, yeah.
First of all, affordable housing is kind of an abused term, because what's affordable to one person is not affordable to another. The technical definition of affordable housing is that your housing costs are
No, I wasn't signing at you, by the way. I was just scratching my nose.
Thought I had something on my nose.
Yeah, if you guys are watching. I just realized that. I was like, my nose was just itchy, but I was like, I think he thinks I'm signing to him to like, cool, you got something on your face.
Yeah. No.
So that's funny.
Okay, let me start over. The technical definition of affordable housing is that you spend no more than a third of your gross income on your housing costs. What that translates to practically, because you're probably spending a third of your gross income on taxes, is that about half of your take-home pay goes to housing, and that ain't cheap. It's just cheaper than what the market will bear. So, for example, right now, I think an affordable housing 2-bedroom unit is going to go for about $2,200 or $2,300 a month, and I wouldn't exactly call that cheap, but it is cheaper than $3,500 to $4,500 a month, which is kind of the market rate for a 2-bedroom condo in town. And that is a fair criticism, because it's not, everybody wants affordable housing, but there's no such thing as an affordable carpenter or an affordable mason. There's no such thing as affordable electrical panels or sinks. You know, and especially for us, we try not to deliver a level of spec finish that is obviously something that you would call affordable housing. We really go out of our way to deliver a product that's comfortable to live in. We put air conditioning in every apartment we build. We put, you know, carpet in all of the bedrooms. We really try to deliver something that feels like a brand new, you know, comfortable place to live. That isn't cheap, and so it just turns out, partially because we're, again, the most isolated archipelago in the world, and everything's expensive to do here, and you know, partially because it's just difficult to get some of these projects built. For a number of reasons, it just ends up not being very cheap to build these things. And the harsh truth of it is that they have to be financially feasible. We don't do these. We don't come up with tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars out of our own pocket to build these projects. We have to leverage every financial tool in the box to get them built. We have to utilize Section 42 of the Internal Revenue Code to generate and then sell low-income housing tax credits to subsidize the equity portion of our capital stack. We have to rely on HUD 221 D4 senior mortgages to capitalize the largest chunk of the capital stack. And at the end of that, we still need rental housing revolving fund monies. And putting all of those monies together requires a decent revenue generation. It turns out that sweet spot is the 1/3 of your income of your gross income has to go to housing costs, and that's not cheap for most people. It's probably, like you said, your financial advisors would probably tell you it's probably a little too much to be spending on these things, but that's the sweet spot, and the leveraging of all of these different tools that you have to utilize and be in order to get anything built, because the alternative is that nothing gets built. And there isn't this option like Keʻolaho.
Yeah.
There isn't you know, an opportunity to deliver any type of housing. And then if that doesn't exist, then the housing problem just gets worse. It's a supply driven problem. So for as long as we are a supply constrained market, affordability will always be a difficult problem to solve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's just so many layers to it of like, okay, there's the developing over, you know, beautiful land. There's the income part of it, the affordability part of it. There's so many like things that people are just unhappy about. And I always tell people, I mean, yeah, we could have all the affordable housing and places to live around here, but like at the end of the day, if we just don't make enough money, we don't make enough money. Like I think for me, my side of like what I try to teach, especially with our card show now, Keep Aloha card shows, about like financial literacy and curating the next entrepreneurs of Hawaii, is just finding multiple streams of income, you know, growing your portfolio, whether that's investing in stocks or Pokemon cards, because investing in Pokemon cards is a real thing, and has been doing better than the stock markets over the last couple of years. Just finding creative ways, you know, to make money. Even if you're in Hawaii, you know, there's ways to make money on the internet. I'm not saying illegal stuff or, you know, or things that are just like found. There's so many legal and I guess non-judgmental ways of making money on the internet. And yeah, the affordability is definitely will help. But at the end of the day, like for me, I just need to make more money if I want to live here and stay here.
No, financial literacy is a key component of eventually being able to actually own a home. So we work with a nonprofit, Komohali Services. They offer they offer services to all of our tenants across our portfolio, and among those services are home ownership planning. And I'll tell you, it's working. We had a number of tenants living at our rental Halekuila place that moved out in November of last year, which surprised us because, like I told you earlier, most of our rentals operate at 100% occupancy, meaning people don't move out. And we had 6 people move out in 1 month, and it surprised us. So when we dug in deeper, we found out that the reason they moved out is because they had bought in the Ulana project on Pohukaina Street, just down the road. And they went from being renters in our affordable housing project to being homeowners in Ulana.
Wow.
And you know, it's not enough. Obviously, we don't just want 6 people doing that. We want as many people as humanly possible doing that. But that's proof that that these projects, they help people save up to build up their credit, to build up their financial wherewithal, and to eventually graduate from being renters into homeowners.
Yeah. That's amazing. I think that's kind of like mission accomplished, right? When you see that, I mean, it's a bigger mission, but like just to see those little wins, right? It gets you excited and shows you like, okay, this is kind of the template. Like this is what you guys can follow to get over here. And maybe after Ulana, they buy a house, they buy a 0.25 acre lot on Oahu somewhere, if that's even possible.
Yeah, I mean maybe, but you know what? For me, my guess is that the mission will never be accomplished. That I will die with the mission not being fully fulfilled. We might make a decent enough dent, but really, we're not going to make progress on this until we have a collective ethos behind building as much housing as we humanly possibly can as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Which some people probably don't like that, but it's the kind of
Well,
the
they
reality.
cannot like it all they want, but that doesn't mean that their friends and family aren't going to move away.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that more Hawaiians are going to live on the mainland or anywhere else in the world besides here. And you know, quite frankly, I don't care because those are 2 problems that I can't live with myself without trying to solve. I don't like the fact that my friends have all had to move away. I don't like the fact that my own grandmother doesn't live here and has to live in Vegas.
Yeah, we love you, Mima.
We love you, Mima.
You're the best.
And you know, if there's anything I do before the end of my career, it's find a place to bring her home to.
Yeah. If she wants to leave those casinos, honestly. Half of it is the finding a place for Mima to stay. Half of it is getting Mima away from the casinos.
Well, I can't help her with the casinos.
From the Kino.
But I can help her with the ladder. And
The
that's
other
something I
half
take
is on you,
seriously.
Mima.
Yeah,
Good
the other
luck.
half's on you, man.
All right, so going back to the Mōʻiliʻili stuff, this one comes from Ke'alohi Wong. She's one of my friends and strong believer and resident of Mōʻiliʻili. She says, Aloha Kamaka and Kaloa, mahalo for setting time aside to vala'a. It's always great to see a local boy in a leadership role, often dominated by non-locals. As PM and lead on development, does Kaloa have a concern for a Hawaii-born keiki being able to live here in the future? Many projects and properties are funded, purchased, and owned by people outside of Hawaii. How does he feel as a local boy in these projects, and what is his forecast for locals living in Hawaii in 20 to 30 years? How much of Hawaii does he expect to be not Hawaii owned?
That was an easy question.
Well, I mean, I think the first part we understand about, like, how do you feel about the concern about people living here? So I think we know that.
I worry.
Yeah.
I worry. I think we all should worry. I think we should all worry about our trajectory. And I say that because the solution is not easy. The solution is complicated, it's difficult, it's expensive, it's controversial. But if we, society, the state, the city, you know, any number of stakeholders that actually have sway in moving the dial a little bit, if we don't all commit to delivering housing as the goal, as the metric, then we just won't. And if I'm being honest with you, I have seen more friction in the development of things that Hawaii people can afford than I have in the market rate stuff. Among the most difficult things to do, and it shouldn't be this way, but among the most difficult things to do in our industry is to build affordable housing. Affordable housing is by every metric the most difficult type of housing to produce. It is far more difficult than a hotel. It is far more difficult than market rate housing, and it's not getting any easier. If we don't collectively as a society decide that this is the thing that we want to get built, then it will not get built. And if it doesn't get built, then the problems, all of the things that she's asking about in her question, will only get worse.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you for answering that. There's a lot of other questions about Mōʻiliʻili. And I'm trying to sort through them because she had a question about the mural, which you already answered and gave the reason why you chose the EEV and the OO board. I'm trying to see like how hard of a question, or like what kind of pitch should I give you?
Do your
Curveball.
worst. What's the worst thing you could do?
All right. This one again from Kaloa says, at the Mōʻiliʻili neighborhood board meeting in April this year, also available on YouTube, Stanford Carr said they want to make Mōʻiliʻili like their Hale Kawila development South Kaka'ako. Mōʻiliʻili is an existing neighborhood with multi-generational families, one of the last town communities with seemingly affordable yet older units. What data has been collected from the existing community for Stanford Carr to say they want to make it like Hale Kawila? Do developers take the current community into consideration? If so, how so? If yes, how so?
It's another easy question to answer.
Kaloha with the easy questions for you.
You know, so first of all, you can't make everybody. The projects that we do, they affect everybody for a century. Like the project we just built on Eisenberg Street, that's going to be there for 100 years. You know, that's a concrete structure that's not coming down until, you know, both of us are dust and bones.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not a responsibility. That's not a kuleana that we take lightly. We also have to appreciate the fact that we can't necessarily make everyone happy. And there's not a single development, there's not a single thing ever built anywhere that has made everyone happy. With respect to what we did at Hale Mōʻiliʻili, and I always think it's interesting that people, or that it's easier to focus on the differences than it is to focus on the similarities. I think what she's trying to get at is what makes you think that Mōʻiliʻili and the Kaka'ako / Hale Kawila place location, what makes you think that they're the same? And we don't think that they're the same. We think they're different, and we know they're different. What we're doing at Keoloho on Eisenberg Street, and what we continue to do what we will continue to do for every project thereafter, is to borrow from the lessons learned on other projects and roll them over. So I'll tell you what one of those lessons learned was at Hale Kawila. Mother Waldron Park, which is just on the other side of this, was not exactly known as being the most family-friendly park. It had a population of, you know, some less desirable activities going on in the park. And one of the things that helped clean up the park were our townhouses that align the parking structure and face the park, because the tenants of those townhouses that directly overlook the park, they took ownership and responsibility of the park. They saw themselves as stewards of the park. So when they saw something not pono, they saw something that they didn't like, they reported it. They called it out. And that helped make a meaningful impact on the usability of that park. This project on Eisenberg Street is similar. Old Stadium Park has its own set of issues. And you know, one of the things we're doing is building a set of housing units that directly overlook the park, because previous data has told us that when you put people in those housing units and they're grateful for the ability to live in, you know, to have affordable housing that they can actually afford to live in, they take responsibility and they take ownership of it. And that ownership doesn't stop at their porch. That ownership extends into what is, you know, eventually going to be their backyard. So all of that to say that what data do we use? We use the lessons that we've learned the hard way across 20 years of developing these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think we won't fully know the impact until it actually happens, and how the people who have been living there, like Alohi, react to it. Maybe they end up loving it. Maybe they brings in an amazing new crowd of people, very supportive. It livens up the area. Maybe traffic is worse. I don't know. Maybe there's some bad eggs that move into the area and something bad happens. But I guess it's all speculation, right, at this point.
Well, hindsight's always 2020. Yeah. You really don't know what the consequences of whatever your decisions are whenever you make them. The best that you can do is what all of the scars on your back tell you are the best things to do, and what you trust in your gut, what your now tells you.
Got you. All right. Well, there's a couple more, but I gotta move on. Sorry, Kaloa. This one comes from, on the last question for the Mōʻiliʻili project, comes from TJ Fermantes, I think. This person says, what impact are you hoping this project will have on the community? Do you foresee any barriers to the project having that impact?
The biggest impact I'm hoping to effectuate is to give Hawaiians a place to live comfortably. That is my absolute main goal. This project was not an easy project to get entitled. It was not an easy project to finance, and it certainly has not been an easy project necessarily to build. I have expended, personal resources and years of my life, again, with Stanford's leadership, mentorship, and trust to get this thing built. And it has primarily been so that other people that call themselves Hawaiian, the same way that I do, the same way that you do, that your sister and my cousin Kanoi do, that your stepdad, my uncle, my dad, and my grandmother all do, to make sure that those people have an opportunity to live here, mm-hmm. to live and die on Hawaiian soil.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the barriers are? Like,
Kamaka, there's no shortage of barriers to anything. I mean, if I can tell you, if I can tell you one thing, it's that the list of things that can go wrong far outsees the list of things that have to go right.
I guess time will tell. All right, so let's end the social media questions with this question from a familiar name, Kaloa Robinson.
Who?
He's gonna roast you for this one. Kaloa Robinson says, my stepdad Kaloa Robinson says to my cousin Kaloa Robinson, if talking to your generation about living in Hawaii, how would you encourage them to stay?
If I'm talking to other generations or my own generation in Hawaii and trying to encourage them to stay, I think the first question I'd ask them is where's your home? Is it here? Where did you grow up? Like where did you develop who you are? For me that was here. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, I'm certifiably unemployable anywhere else in the world but here. I call people bra in meetings. There's the whole Hawaii relationship aspect. For me, I can't go anywhere else. This is my ship. I think I think there are a lot of other people that would also describe Hawaii as their ship. I remember hearing when I was graduating high school, I want to get off this rock, and as if like they were disparaging the island, but it's a nice rock. And we have to take care of it, because if we don't take care of it, nobody else will. If you have a love for the state, if you have a love for the islands, and you have the ability to make a meaningful impact and improve the quality of life and the livelihood for yourself and for your friends and family, then stay here and do it. We can't afford to have everybody leaving. We need good local people to stay here and do their part.
Mm-hmm. I'm just making a note of that for social media clips. Yeah, I mean, I guess if I could just add on to that, would you really want to live anywhere else? Would you? I rather struggle here and have all the things that Hawaii offers me than be happy somewhere else. Like, that's the reality of it. I mean, I could be happy anywhere in the world, but Hawaii is my home. Hawaii is my strength, you know, it's where my heart is. And I will work as hard as I can to make this place my home for the rest of my life. Same as for my friends and family. Like, if I need to work 24/7 for the next 247 days, just so that, you know, me and my family and friends will have to stay here, then I will do that. You know, luckily I'm in a position where I believe I'm on the right track to do that.
I think what you do is super important. You bring out a lot of voices. You know, you give them a platform to tell their story, and these are people that, you know, without it wouldn't have that sort of platform. You're doing a good job.
That's the goal. Thank you.
You ought to keep it up.
Thank you, cousin. And then last one from Kaloa Robinson. Older, wiser, probably better at golf, Kaloa Robinson. I've never seen him play golf, so I don't know. What are 3 tips you can offer to young people about home ownership and why that's important?
I don't have 3 tips, but I do have
Oh,
one.
this is crazy.
What?
As I'm reading this, the time right now is 3:33.
Oh. We've been, well.
That you didn't even think about the 3:33. You just thought about, dang, we've been here for 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't have 3 tips, but I do have one.
Okay.
You know, unless you're gifted with familial wealth or, you know, some other type of windfall, home ownership is not just going to happen to you. It's something that you have to, for better or worse, home ownership is not something that's just given out. It's earned. It's something you have to work incredibly hard for. For those of you out there that have home ownership as a goal, you have to treat it you have to treat it intentionally. So my tip for anybody that desires to be a homeowner is to approach home ownership as a chore, to save properly, to invest properly, to budget yourself, to manage your credit, to do all of the things that you have to do and treat it the same way you would treat doing your own laundry or cleaning your toilets. I mean, maybe do it a little bit better than that, you know, fold the laundry, etc. Like actually do it, but it will not happen to you. You have to put in the effort. You have to treat it like something as an obligation, as a responsibility, as something that you owe to yourself. And if you don't hold that obligation in that highest of regard, it will be very difficult for you to eventually achieve it.
Mm-hmm. Right on. Love that. Well, mahalo everybody for the social media questions. Make sure you leave some for our next guest, and maybe your question will make it on the podcast. We're coming to the back end of the podcast, and I like to ask all of my guests the same question about keeping it aloha. It's something I try to do every single day of my life. So I want to know, in your life, how do you keep it aloha?
You know, I'm not really known for that. I was thinking about how to answer this question, and keeping it aloha is probably not something that my reputation would lend as my expertise. But, you know, I'll say that there's a little bit of a myth that aloha is just about being nice. I would say that rather than thinking of aloha as being nice, I would think of it more like tough love. So one of the ways I would, in that context, keep it aloha is hold yourself and the people you care about accountable to themselves to improve their lives and the lives around them better. We all have to take care of ourselves and each other, and we cannot let that fall to the back burner.
Wow. That's a good answer. I wasn't expecting that out of you.
Why?
I don't know. I just wasn't. That was good.
You gonna cry?
A little bit. The whole time I was just thinking, when you said I don't keep it aloha, I'm like, yeah, you do. When we were over at your mom's house, and they were talking about driving from Hawaii to the airport in 15 minutes, and you were on my side. I thought that was the most keeping it aloha thing you could ever do.
That was keeping it Kamaka.
Yeah. Approved. All right. He just moved up on the cousin ranking list.
I've always been at the top.
I mean, I don't know.
All right.
You canceled our golf couple months ago.
Sorry, bro. I'll take you golfing.
Yeah. I mean, okay. if I'm being real, it wasn't your fault. It was the Kona low storms.
Yeah, there was that.
There was also that. Okay. All right. So, what is one thing you wish people knew about you that they don't?
Oh, there's nothing that I want anyone else to know about me that they don't already know. And the things that I don't want people to know about me, I am taking to the grave. Good try.
Well, we're good with that then. All right. What are you most proud of?
It's Keʻolaho. It's building a project that, I mean, they're not my people, but it's building a project that my people will call home. It's something that, for all of the criticisms people have today, you know, eventually I think those will fall apart, and eventually people will see how beneficial having an affordable rental project that we're exploring, you know, other ways to convert it to a rent to own in the future. But that project is going to have immense benefits for the people that live there in ways that are difficult to describe. That project in and of itself is enough for me to, if and when we get it done, that project's enough for me to consider my career a success.
It's your legacy project.
I wouldn't say it's my legacy. It's because it's not mine. Stanford is the one that makes these big, bold, you know, risky decisions. If you see anything in me, it's because Stanford gave me an opportunity and has mentored and trained me the whole way. I certainly don't want to take all of the credit for it because I don't deserve it. His leadership has been critical to all of those things. But if you're asking what I'm most proud of, it's fighting through every obstacle and every step of aerodynamic drag that could have killed that project to get it built.
That's good. Saying proud of your cousin Kamako would have been the best answer, but second best is good.
I'm proud of you. Dude. Look at this. You do good work, Kamako. You should be proud of yourself.
I wouldn't have any of this without Jordan and all my good mentors and people helping me out. So, all right. So last thing about Aloha Stadium or any other projects or any other thing that you want to mention before we get shift gears towards the end of the podcast.
Yeah. One of the most difficult components of developing anything is infrastructure. And it's really no secret that Hawaii made a bunch of really meaningful and powerful investments in infrastructure in the 60s, 70s, and maybe early 80s. But that same level of investment hasn't existed. One of the reasons it hasn't existed is because they're expensive. It turns out that all across the country, there's a financial program, a methodology of paying for infrastructure that's referred to as tax increment financing. And put simply, what that is taking future revenues generated by the development of things above the infrastructure. So think of that as property taxes, general excise taxes, transient accommodation taxes, not new taxes. These are existing taxes, but importantly, revenues that wouldn't exist if the infrastructure that you built wasn't in there. It's taking those revenues and using those revenues to directly pay for the infrastructure. That every other state in the nation except for Arizona utilizes this. We are late to the party, and it's the only way we're going to make a meaningful dent in the infrastructure problem that we have. Whether or not to make that legal is going to be on the ballot this November. So to all of your listeners and to everybody else, please vote yes. This is the most efficient use of future tax dollars. And the best part of it is that once all of the infrastructure is paid off, those are future revenues and tax dollars that will go to paying for fixing the new roads, and improving our schools, our police force, our firefighting force, all of the city and state services that we're used to. So please vote yes on the constitutional bill for this November for resilient infrastructure for shelter and equity, or RISE bonds.
Okay, right on. So who do we complain to if Aloha Stadium isn't built by 2029?
Me and Stanford. Call my boss.
Call 1-888-246-5291. Hopefully you guys don't call that number because I just made it up.
Yeah, that's not a number. That's someone's number. That's someone else's
Not
number you just put
1888.
out there.
1888. It's always toll free. I
Oh,
thought.
did you say?
I said 1888.
I thought you said 808.
1888. You can try 1808 and the number I just said. You guys can try that. All right. So we're all good on the business and project side.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I just wanted to dive in before we start to wrap up about your personal life. Like, what is Kaloa when he's not working and working these huge, enormous projects? Because I know you're a triathlete. That's something you should be proud of.
Yeah, I mean, if 418th place counts as a triathlete, then yeah, I'm a triathlete.
You still placed?
I'm a voracious reader, so I try to read as much as humanly possible. At least devote half an hour a day to reading.
That's crazy
Yeah.
because I don't think you read my book.
I haven't yet read your book. Is it good? Should I read it?
I think it's good.
Did you give me a copy?
I'll get you a copy.
Do I have to
after.
buy a copy?
We got extra.
All right, yeah.
It obviously didn't sell out.
I do a decent amount of reading, and I have recently really enjoyed destroying my handicap on the golf course and biking. So for all of your readers out there that drive down King Street, please look behind you when turning left so you don't lay out a biker in that bike lane.
Yeah. And what color is your leotard? Sorry.
My leotards are a range of colors, but whatever leotard I'm wearing, I look like a highlighter on wheels.
Most likely you will get recognized after this podcast. So make sure you wear really nice leotards.
Do people watch this thing?
Some, a couple hundred. All right. So what is your future goals? I mean, beyond, like the workspace, are you trying to do marathons, ultra running kind of things? Future personal goals, retirement in 20 years?
Yeah. So all of these are great questions. Really, a whole bunch of my life is focused on the work I do. The work I do is incredibly important to me. If I think about all the things that really matter to like a productive and healthy society, it's the 3 H's. It's housing, healthcare, and higher education. I'm not a doctor, and I'm also barely educated enough to educate myself. Certainly not educated enough to educate anyone else. So I don't know anything about those two, but I do know a lot about housing, and I take that seriously and personally. We all do at SCD. It's part of our culture. So the work that I'm doing, the work that we're doing, is a huge part of who we are. So for the next 5 to 10 years, I'm devoted to making sure that Hawaii gets itself a stadium and a surrounding entertainment district and 4,000 to 4,500 more residential units. I'm also interested. I also take personally the idea that we need to have a financial tool that gets more and more robust infrastructure developed. But if I'm talking to you about my personal life, I'd really like to see my handicap come down 4 strokes. That'd be nice.
All right. Do you need some golf lessons? Or?
Yeah, but not from you.
Okay. No, I can connect you with people.
Oh, do you know a golf instructor?
Yeah, I do.
Is it you?
No, it's not me. I don't take credit for any of the things that I do. I am me because of the people in my life. But I just did my first tournament at is it called the one in Kapolei?
Hawaiʻi.
Is it Hawaiʻi? Prince.
Prince.
And I shot pretty well. I like
100 and what?
Well, we just did the best ball, but I had really they used some of my shots for the best ball.
Oh, good.
Like I think you will be impressed when we golf together.
It sounds like I will be.
Yeah, like I can hang, and I've only golfed less than 10 times in my life.
Okay, bro, I'm in.
Let's go for real though. Let's go for real.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get to opening the Pokemon cards and wrap this up, can you share a life hack with us?
Yeah, I can share a life hack with you. 2 life hacks. One simple one a little bit more complicated. The first one is that if you live in a condo and you have your hot water heater in your unit, it's probably not connected to a timer, and it's definitely not connected to solar hot water heating. So if you go on a trip, turn it off. It'll save you some electricity. Number 2 is when you're going on a trip, before you leave, fill up a cup of water and freeze it. Once it's frozen, put a quarter on top of the on top of the ice, and then leave it in the freezer. Well, if you come back and you check your freezer, if the quarter's still sitting on the top of the ice cube, that means that your electricity didn't go out, that your food didn't unfreeze, and that your food is still safe to eat.
Wow, I never heard about that or even thought about doing that. That's crazy. How did you learn that?
I read a book.
That's two really good life hacks. Thanks. All right. When's the last time you busted open some of these packs?
1998.
You know that specifically?
I remember being like 8 or 9 years old.
All right, pick out a pack. So what we do is we go rip till we hit. So we keep opening until we get a hit. The Greninja. A hit is like a good card.
Okay.
Yeah, so we want a Greninja. That's like the biggest card.
Okay.
So you just open it, make a puka like this. Yeah.
Like
there
that?
you go. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you take it out, just rip the pack open. And then we always throw the whatever hits we get into the giveaway of the week. So the winner of our giveaway. So you take that put that on the side.
Okay.
And then the back card put to the front.
Okay.
And we like to guess the color of the energy. So I'll go with black for your shirt. Okay, it was green. So you just guess the color.
Do I pick this up?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Guess the
yellow.
color. Brown.
Oh.
Power to the people, we call that one.
Ah.
All right, and then you just start to reveal it. So I'll do mine first. You can watch, and you just go take a card out one by one. And the good cards are in the back. So we'll see if I get a hit. I didn't get a hit. I got cooked. So you got to carry the team.
Okay.
Represent our family. Don't bring this honor to the family. You're not even Japanese. You guys are Filipino.
What did you say?
That's a good thing. Filipinos are awesome. You guys can sing. Kanoa has the Filipino side. We just have the Japanese Korean. All right. Nothing.
Oh, wait, one more.
One more. Ooh, we both got cooked. Okay, Hanaho.
Hanaho?
Yeah, we go until we get a hit, so we can give it away.
How do you get these cards?
You buy it. You get into Pokemon debt like me. Nah, but Collector, they're an app that you can use to track your collection. They gave us some funds to get some cards to rip with the guests. So shout out to Collector. Make sure you guys download the app.
So I put this one on the
Yep,
ground.
you got
flip
it.
The top one.
Yep, and guess, and I'll go blue. Oh.
Okay, red.
Blue again.
Oh, blue.
All right, yeah. So yeah, I'll go real fast just to do that. Look at this. Boom. I got cooked again.
Okay.
Okay, you gotta clutch up for us.
All right. Okay. You don't.
Do it for Stanford Carr Development.
This is hard.
Yeah, when you rip a lot of packs like me, it gets easy. Come on, get something. Small hit at the back. Oh my gosh, we're getting cooked.
This is not good.
No, we went 4 in a row and we didn't get anything. Here, try again. This is the 5th pack for us.
Okay.
Which is also kind of fun because you can just rip more.
All right.
Isn't it kind of fun to rip it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm having a ball.
Did you see the video I ripped the pack with the rock?
No, you met the Rock.
Yeah, at the Moana reception.
What?
Yeah,
You met Aloha Carvalho.
she was also there too.
Nice.
I think she's a lesbian. No, seriously. Sorry.
Well. Okay, I don't know what to do with that. Purple.
I thought you were interested in her. That's why you were saying that.
No. I mean, God, there's no way to get out of that. Like that's like a no-win thing. Okay, here. So
Just get a hit. That's how you get out of it.
Okay.
And then we wrap up the podcast. Okay, getting there. Getting to the hollows.
did we get it? I don't know what a hit is.
You'll see it when you get it.
All right.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. If you guys are still watching, man, we're getting cooked. All right.
They're not.
There's some people that are watching. If you're still watching, comment. I'm still watching. All right. Let me just go. I didn't even guess. Okay. Let's just review this real quick. All right, there. Here we go. Okay, we got one.
Sick.
All right. So it's a full art card. You see how it looks different?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the hit.
I can see how different that is.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, I'm the family member that loves Pokemon. Apparently, he is not. But thank you so much for coming on and sharing all that you shared and educating us on all the amazing projects that you're working on here in Hawaii, especially the Aloha Stadium, which is probably next to the rail as the biggest project in Hawaii. So
It's been a privilege to be here. Long-time listener, first-time caller. But thanks for having me.
there's no way you listen to a full episode of this podcast.
Maybe not a full episode, but
You've seen clips.
I've seen your stuff.
You've seen clips.
I know who you are. I see you at Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's and whatever. What was the last thing that we? So was it your birthday?
Someone's birthday.
Somebody's birthday that we were at your mom's house. All right. Anything else you want to share? If not, tell us where we can find you.
Please don't try to find me.
You don't want people to find you on Instagram?
No.
What if Ali Carvalho is listening to this or Sabrina Carpenter is listening to this?
And they can call you, and I'm sure you'll put us in touch.
All right. Well, I guess, yeah. Thank you for coming on. And mahalo Kaloa for joining us on the Keep It Low podcast. Spread love, be kind to one another, and mahalo for listening to us today. We have new episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. I'm your host, Kamaka, and remember to always keep it aloha.